Hello, this is Scott Marshman with eCabinets Tips and Tricks, and this is part 3 on how to make a octagon column that you can change the size and automatically have all your parts adjust. In this video, and we'll be putting the stretchers on this thing, so stay tuned and see how I've done that. So now we're ready to put our stretchers on here, but first I'd like to point out something. If you're going to be using different material thicknesses for these columns here, you need to go ahead at this point and change your materials. If you're using the same thickness, changing the materials is no problem. For example, I'm using 3/4 inch generic material here. If I needed to change my column after I get all these stretchers on here to, for example, a 3/4 inch maple, there's no issues. But once you get your stretchers on here, there's locks that we set in here, and you'll have some issues with changing the material thicknesses, as well as the insets that we set. So for example, if you go from 3/4 to a 1/2 inch and we've got a certain inset right here, it's not going to work for you, and you would have to go into stretcher editor and adjust those, and quite frankly that's a little bit time consuming and aggravating. And so what I would do at this point is save this particular column just like it is as a template, so that you can come back later on and make different columns for different material thicknesses. But we're going to keep on going with this 3/4 inch thick material here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the stretcher editor, and I'm going to put the front stretcher on first. So I'm going to click on the top here and the deck, and I'm going to click add a stretcher, and I'm using 3/4 inch generic material, and I want left right orientation. I'm going to click OK. And there's our stretcher. As you can see, it put it in here at 2 inches wide. We can go to construction settings here and change that. We can put 3 and 15/16, and it will put a 3 and 15/16 wide stretcher in here from now on. That's no big deal because we're going to make it adjust dynamically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this stretcher, and I'm going to go to adjust stretcher, and I'm going to go to advanced here, and I'm going to start with inset 1, and it's on the top, and I want it to, right now it's on the bottom of the top, I want it to be on the top of the top. On the deck, I want it to be on the bottom of the deck. And let me flip this over. Now we need inset 3. We want it to be flush with the front of our top. So I'm going to click on inset 3, and I want to select top and select the front of the top there. I'm going to click OK, and now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to set my settings. My inset 1, I want it to be 0, and inset 2, 0, and I'm hitting my lock key as I do that. And inset 3, I want it to be at 0 and lock. Now what I need to do to get it to adjust to the width there, I need to go back into advanced, and on inset, let's start with inset 6. I want to go inset 6. I want it to be on my back. I want it to always be the same width as my back. So I want it to be on the right side of my back. And inset 5, I want it to be on the back and the left side of my back. I'm going to click OK, and now I'm going to set that to 0 and click lock, and 0 and click lock. Now if I hover over this, it's not going to give me anything right now, so let me click done, and it should be the same width, 3 and 15/16. And that is correct. Now let's do this stretcher right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my top and my deck. And I'm going to click add stretcher, and this time I want a front back orientation. I'm going to click OK. Now you could do left right orientation if you want, but I prefer front back in this case. I'm going to click on that stretcher and click adjust stretcher, and I'm going to go ahead and set my rotation to 45. That's not going to work because I want it this way. So 90 is not going to work. Let's go 135, and that lines it up right here. So let me zoom in there. Got it on 135 degrees, and it's going to line up with this face right here. I'm going to click on advance, and I'm going to go and see what we got to deal with here. Let me zoom in. Okay, we want inset 3 to be flush with the top, the front of the top, and we want inset 4 to be flush with this end here plus our inset. Okay, so I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to set this one to the top and this one to the bottom, and inset 3 I want it to be on the top and the front of the top, and inset 4 I want it to be on the left end and the front of the left end right here. Inset 5, which is this inset right here, I want it to be on the left end also, but I want it to be on the left side of the left end. I'm going to click on left, and I'm going to click OK. Now, there's an inset that we need, so let me go into Excel here, and we hit escape, and what I've done was I added this area right here to my Octagon calculator, which gives us the stretcher offset based on the material thickness. Right now I got it set at 0.71880. I'm going to change that to 0.75. Okay, and it's automatically going to change to this offset. Now the way I came up with this was I took a known offset, okay, and the way I found that offset was in SketchUp here. Let me click on this. Let's see, I believe I did this based on 0.75 material. So let me click on get out of this right here and go to 0.75. Let's see, 0.75, this one right here. Let me turn that one off. Okay, my known offset that I came up with in SketchUp here is the distance from the end of this end here to what this needs to be offset in order to create our 22.5 degree miter, and it needs to be offset by 0.530330. And what I've done was I took this known offset, okay, and the end thickness here, and I came up with this divisor, which is the material thickness divided by the known offset. So what this formula does is this formula right here is it takes the material thickness and it divides it by the divisor, which gives you your stretcher offset. So that's how I came up with that. Now I'm going to copy this. I'm going to right click, I'm going to click copy, and I'm going to go back into eCabinets and make sure I got my advanced offsets set there. I'm going to go to this one here. I'm going to set it to be 0, unlocked, and 0 and lock. And inset 3, we got it set to the front of the top, so I'm going to make that 0 and lock. And now inset 4, I need that at I'll right click and click paste and put a negative right there, minus, and lock it. Okay, it's got it at 1730 seconds. And now inset 5, I need that at 0 and lock. So that put that in there nicely. As you can see, if you zoom in, see that's a nice looking joint there. Let's go to done. So when we go done, we can actually see our overlaps and see that they're intersecting quite nicely there. So that's it for that one. Let's go ahead and get this one in here. I'm going to click on my top and my deck, and I'm going to add a stretcher. And I want a front back orientation on this one. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to highlight this one or select that one. I'm going to go to adjust stretcher, and we need to rotate that one. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. 45 degrees works fine for that one. So let's go advance. I'm going to set this one to the top and this one to the bottom. And if I rotate this, we can see what offsets we need to deal with here. And we need 3, 4, and 6. So 3 is going to be the top and the front of the top again, and inset 4 this time is going to be on the right end and the front of the right end, and inset 6 is going to be on the right end, and it needs to be on the right side. So I'm going to click right, and I'm going to click OK. Now we come in here and we set this to 0, lock, and 0 and lock, and inset 3 is 0 and lock, and inset 4, right click and paste because we still have that on our clipboard. Put a negative right there and lock it. And inset 6, we're going to set it at 0 and lock, and go done. And let's zoom in and see what that looks like. All that looks really good. So let's go ahead and go home, tilt this over, and let's add our next stretcher. Let's add, got to select the deck here and add a stretcher, and we want a front back again. And we'll select OK. Rotate around here where I can get a hold of it. Hit on my home key and adjust stretcher. Now we need to go to advance, or actually we need to rotate that thing. We need it rotated this way. So rotate it 45, and that works fine. So let's go to advance and make these adjustments. So we want to be on the top and the bottom. Top of the top and the bottom of the deck. And this time we're dealing with inset 3, 4, and 5. So inset 3, it needs to be on the left end and the back of the left end, and inset 4 needs to be on the top and the back of the top, and inset 5 needs to be on the left end and the left side of the left end. I'm going to click OK and set these to 0 and 0. Should have hit lock there. I'm going to hit lock and 0 and lock, and inset 3. This needs to be our offset. So I'm going to click paste. It's still on my clipboard, and I'm going to put a minus sign and lock it. And inset 4 automatically went to 0, so I'm just going to lock it. And inset 5, I need that at 0, and I'm going to lock it. So there we go with that one. I'm going to click done. And get our last one in here. I'm going to click on my top and my deck. And I'm going to go add a stretcher, and I want a front back orientation, and click OK. And spin around where I can get a hold of it, highlight it, go to adjust stretcher, I'm going to hit home, and we need to rotate this on this angle right here. So I'm going to rotate it 45, 90, 135 degrees. I'm going to go to advanced, and I'm going to change these back, top and bottom, and rotate this around. Inset 3 needs to be here, inset 4 needs to be here, and inset 6 needs to be here. So inset 3 is going to be on the right end and the back of the right end, and inset 4 is going to be on the top and the back of the top, and inset 6 is going to be on the right end and the right side of the right end. Click OK. Set this to 0 and lock, 0 and lock, and put our negative inset here that we just copied. Ah, crap, I hit copy. So let's come back into here and right click and click copy again and get that back on our clipboard. And now we can put that in. So right click, paste, and put our negative sign or minus sign here and lock it. And that went to 0. I'm going to lock it and set inset 6 to 0 and lock it. And click done. Now, I've got everything set up. Everything looks good. We ain't off by much. We might be off by 10,000ths of an inch. But I don't know about you, but I don't think I can measure 10,000ths of an inch on a ruler. So that looks good to me. So let's go back to main. And like I said, you know, it's not that bad putting these in here. So if you're going to be using different thickness materials before you get all these stretchers in here, save the original one with just the left and right end and the back and all your constraints and all that as a template. Then you can change your materials to different thicknesses, and everything will work just fine. But as far as after you get these stretchers on here, changing the materials is not a problem as long as they're the same thickness. So I just want to make sure I stress that. And let's test this joker out and see how it resizes. So we're at 9.5, and let's try our 21 again and see what happens. 21, and let's just go ahead and change the height here. Let's make the height, I don't know, let's make it 20 inches high. Let's go lower. Hit enter. And as you can see, it did a pretty good job. So what I would do at this point is go ahead and get it back to a normal size here, 9.5. Oh heck, let's change it to 8. 8 by 34.5 by 8, and hit enter. And go ahead and save this thing. Well, actually, what we need to do before we do that, I want to make this and the top and the deck phantom parts, and I want to name these stretchers. So I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna go to phantom parts, and I'm gonna click on my top, and I'm gonna hold down my control key, click on my deck, and I'm gonna set selected to phantom, and okay. So now they're phantom parts. They're not going to show up on the cut list, and you won't see them in custom layout or any of your presentations. So let's name these parts here. Let's right click and let's go to user part name. Alright, I'm going to click on this part, and that highlights it in gray here. I'm going to name this front, whatever. Okay, and I'm going to name this one, let's hit escape. I want you hit escape. I'm going to click this one. It's going to highlight that one. Okay, so I got that one wrong. Let me go home here. Let's go home. Click on this one. Okay, so that one was wrong. This is actually the front left. So front left, hit escape. Alright, that one. Come on now. I like that one, and this one will be the front. Hit escape or deselect that one, and select that one. And you see that one highlight there. We'll call this one front. This will be right. And I'm going to hit enter, hit escape, and this one here, rotate it around, select it, and I want to name this one back left. That's the back left stretcher there. I'm going to hit enter, and hit escape, and this one here, I need that one to be the back right. And hit enter and escape. Now I'm done, and we got everything on here. We can resize this and use it wherever we want, make it whatever size we need, and everything's good to go. So the only thing left to do would be to save this, and I would probably save this under something like Octagon column 0.75 material. So I believe that's what I'll do. If this video helped you, please give me a thumbs up, and thank you for watching, and as always, please subscribe to my channel, and have a good day.